Anthony.
I'm Gabby.
We are back. We're
We
stronger than
are.
ever, and we're voice actors. That sounds something like it should be like a musical entry.
I like it. I like it.
It is good to see you all. It's good to see you, Gabby. How are
Yeah,
you?
I'm good. It was a good
Good.
weekend.
Did you have a good Fourth of July?
hmm
That's
I can't say
good.
my dogs did, but I
Oh
did.
no! Oh yeah, no joke. Oh no joke. Yeah, a lot of fun. Had a great time, and
Good.
we're very excited about today because today is the start of our new semester at
It's
VO Journey
here.
Academy. This is, by the way, on a side note, this is a great time to join.
God.
So check us out over at VOsJourney.com and wonderful time, 50% off the first month to try us out. Can't get better than that.
No.
If
No.
you're new here, please make sure you hit the like and subscribe button.
hmm
Also, make sure you leave a comment. Tell us hello, where you're from.
Ask us your
Ask us
questions.
questions.
hmm
We love to answer them.
We do.
Yeah, so good morning, Alex. We
Morning.
have an exciting thing to. Oh, real quick, did you know that we published our 350-second audiobook
I did not know
on
that.
Academy
Wow.
Voices? Yes, yes. And a couple of our audiobooks are like number one on Spotify,
Oh my
and
gosh.
I have to tell you, I mean, it's insane how much some of these narrators are making. It is
So
exciting,
great.
and for stories you win, like Jack and the Beanstalk, and like my father's like you would be because
Oh.
we do a lot of cool children's stories
Yeah, yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
Spotify, and it's incredible. We're talking like thousands and thousands of listens and stuff. It's
That's
amazing.
so great.
Yeah, you wouldn't even. I mean, like it's wild. So, anyways, I just thought that was really cool. So it's really a neat part of a VO Journey Academy. And anyway, so cool. So we're gonna talk about today one of my favorite topics, and that is the hobo fort. How to make a hobo fort.
Oh, goody.
And I love everything about the hobo fort and the name. So basically, I don't know, I had when I first started,
Mm,
I had found
hmm
and credit this guy. I found a video because I was thinking about doing voiceover. So okay,
Right.
well, I need to have some sort of studio.
Mhm.
So I don't remember what it was, but I found this guy who was a musician, and he was doing a video about in his attic. This was like 8 9 years ago. In his attic, taking like PVC pipe and
Mhm.
materials and stuff, and creating a booth, or something, a sound acoustically treated booth, so he could, like play guitar and stuff like that. And I
Yeah.
thought, oh, this would be great for a recording space for me because I could build it around my desk at the time because I was our first house and it was very small and not a lot of room, so I had to just build it around the desk where I was.
Right.
So, anyways, I had a $200 gift card for my birthday to Lowe's, so I went and bought PVC pipe and packing blankets and those little elbows, and I created a 4x6 space, and I got these little plastic clamps, uh,
Ah,
and from Lowe's, and I hung the blankets. I hung one over. I made a little door. You just draw back the blanket
yep.
and everything, and I would spend all the time in this booth. And my wife had said, or I don't know if it was my wife or my mother-in-law, they had said, "It looks like it looks like you're in a hobo fort." And I said, it's my hobo fort, right?
Mhm.
So I started saying hobo fort, and it's kind of been a thing. So now we have hobo forts, and
It has stuck. It has
I
stuck.
love it.
I think everybody in the academy knows the term hobo
The
fort now.
hobo fort. So
Mhm.
we all have our own version of a hobo fort. So Gabby, why don't you talk to us about whatever, like, did you have a hobo fort when you started? How did you start? I guess after
Mhm.
you, because you probably did a lot in studios way back
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
when,
Mhm.
but when you first started in your space.
Oh man. So I took a closet in
Mm,
I put my office in a bedroom, and I took the closet, which was not very big at all. It was a standard, what I would call a standard size closet.
mm-hmm.
Took the clothes bar out of it, took the shelves out of it, and it was terrible. Oh my God. It was so good. So I made baffles at the time I made my own homemade baffles, and what I did, because at the time they were very inexpensive, it's not the case anymore. I used acoustic ceiling tiles.
Oh, wow.
Because
Okay.
that's, acoustic ceiling tiles, as the name implies, right? When they're used in office buildings and settings, it's because they do a really good job of
Hmm.
mitigating sound transfer, from one floor of an office building to another. And they were like super cheap. Oh my God, you could buy tons of these things really inexpensive. And so I brought them home and I hot glue gunned them together. This was like, I mean, the epitome of
Wow.
like a do-it-yourself
I
craft,
love it.
And then I covered them in fabric and I velcroed them to the freaking walls.
Oh, I love
And
it.
it worked really well in some instances. There were other things not so great. Like there was a window in that room that I didn't have properly treated, and that created
Mm.
like you could hear birds chirping occasionally. It was really funny.
Right.
Um, and it evolved from there. And I mean, over the years, I've had 4 or 5 different versions of, a DIY booth. I built a hobo fort for a local talent agency that I worked with. Yeah. I've done a lot of like crazy stuff with this, but I think, for me, it's always been the DIY
Mm.
concept. I'm like, when you look at the cost of
Oh, yeah.
building or buying, well, buying one of the prefab studios
Right.
versus building it yourself, it's a no-brainer. I mean,
Hmm.
if you're even a little mechanically inclined, right? If you know how
Oh,
to
yeah.
run some basic power tools, yeah, you can
Oh, yeah.
outfit a space very easily.
Hmm.
And I think for most people, it's just the difference between, do I own my home and can I site build, or do I need to have something that's more mobile slash removable because I rent? And
Yeah.
either is very doable. Should we talk about some materials that we've used over the years? Some of
Yeah,
the,
definitely.
yeah.
So with that, so remember the materials that I use to start off, because I had a small closet that
Mm,
I couldn't fit in, right? It was just
mm-hmm.
one that just barely, fit the clothes, that was it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's why I decided to build a hobo fort. So the materials I used was PVC pipe,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and the thickness, I'll be honest with you, the thicker the better.
Oh, yeah.
The thicker the better. Of course, as it thicker it gets more expensive, but you don't want the flabby. You don't want like half an inch.
Mm-mm.
You don't want, at least an inch.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be lower than that, but you want thick, rigid PVC pipe.
Mm-hmm.
And, you want the elbows that are going to connect. And the cool thing about this is, and the funny thing, Gabby, is I would put up and take down my booth every day
Wow.
because the space we were in that I had to use, this was before I realized I could have just built it in my room in the corner,
Your
a
wife was
smaller
like,
one.
"Get this ugly
Right,
thing
right,
out of my
exactly. I mean,
house."
I finally built like a teeny sit down one in the as I
Mhm,
got better at
mhm.
this, you can
Yeah.
start to shape it in places,
Yep.
but at first you don't know what you don't know.
No,
So
no.
so anyways, and you have these corners, right, that are
Mhm,
going to be, two ways plus a go side, bottom,
mhm.
and make connect everything. And basically, you just literally can put them together and pull
Yeah.
them apart, and
Mhm,
they're very sturdy. So I used that, and then, like I said, I got packing blankets from Lowe's.
mhm,
I got these plastic clips,
mhm,
and basically, I would drape over the blanket on the PVC pipe and clamp it.
mhm.
And I would have those around the top, and then I did have a cover over the top. Eventually, I put a cover over the top.
Mm.
And that was, and I only, so I did that, and I had one layer to start.
Oh, wow.
Yes, exactly. And again, you don't know what you don't know.
No.
So as time goes on, right, I learned that I needed, especially for deeper voices,
Mm.
okay, you need more material to really kind of diffuse those lower frequencies
Mhm,
from just passing right through and coming right back in.
mhm.
So you had to get some more. So I started to get more blankets. Fortunately for me, my wife is a blanket hoarder and has a ton of blankets and pillows. She loves them.
Nice.
So that we had all, and really thick fluffy
Mm.
blankets. So the reality is the best thing to use, right, is the thicker, the fluffier, pillows, blankets, anything. So what I did was interesting about mine that was different than some people is that, and I did this for stability, but at the time I did it for the time for stability is I put a bar across midway.
Mm-hmm.
So I had, the rectangular shape, the
Mm-hmm.
top and the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
and then the four sides. But then I put a connecting bar around three sides,
Oh, okay.
so that it was stable.
Hmm.
Well, that also meant that I could drape over more blankets on the side, and I was sitting down in my space. So that turned out to be extremely important because the level of which I was at and I was speaking, the bars tended to be right here,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I was able to drape,
Oh,
at
nice.
least 4 to 6 inches of material over those halfway, right? So that was draped on the side, and in the front, I started using also egg crate. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can see, I'm not sure if Gabby has a blanket there, but on mine, you can kind of see behind those foam tiles on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
They also make like egg crate ones or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
I even went to Michael's
Yeah.
and was grabbing whatever foam they had early on, right before I knew stuff, and to put up, and I started just pasting stuff everywhere, shoving stuff in the corners, putting stuff. I would drape blankets over my
Mm-hmm.
counter, of my desk. I did everything I could, and in the end, I had also put up coats. If I had old coats I wasn't
Yep.
using, I had everything. So aesthetically,
Oh
it
God.
was a interesting journey into the booth. You never knew
It
what you
was
were going to find in
hideous.
there, right? But sound wise, it
Mm-hmm.
was absolutely incredible
Mm-hmm.
because all that material in there, it just absorbs all
Yeah.
of it. Extremely hot,
Oh yeah.
extremely hot.
Always
But
hot.
yeah, so clothes was a big one. Shaggy blankets.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, Gabby. At one time, I used, because with the room I was in, it was all hardwood floor. My previous home, and I went and got these. Those flooring tiles that you see in gyms or
Yep.
spaces that are rubber,
Yep.
but they're like
I have
cushioning and
those.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they have a nice fuzz on top. I
Mm-hmm.
had gotten us a bunch of those because they were inexpensive at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I put that across the whole entire floor, and it
Mm-hmm.
really helped with sound. And that way, I did not have to put a carpet down. I didn't
Yep.
have to replace a hardwood floor because it could just come right back up.
Yeah. I've seen some cool things over the years. I know one voice actor in upstate New York who he's like the only male in his family, and so he inherited all of his grandmother's, mother's, aunts, quilts and blanket, where they were all, hobbyist and semi-professional, sewers, and they did all these really amazing quilts over the years. He built his entire booth out of their quilting,
Oh
as a
wow.
way to kind of not only pay homage to them, right, to have family, but also to be practical and to have
Yes.
a use for it.
Mm.
I tell my students all the time, I'm like, go raid a Goodwill of
A
every
Goodwill.
blanket,
Yes. Yes.
pillow, comforter you can
Yes.
find. Take them to an industrial washing machine, like take them to a laundromat
Hmm.
and start building from there, because
But you'll
that
save
stuff,
so much money,
oh my
man.
God, so much
Unreal.
money.
And it'll sound great.
It will.
It sounds
And
great.
I'll tell you, and I mean, there's some other fun, like I've done some funky stuff over the years with friends,
Yeah.
especially like musicians. Like, when you pass like somebody who's like thrown away their old couch on the side
Oh
of the
yeah.
road,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The
grab the
cushion.
cushions, grab the
Yeah.
cushions. The cushions are
So
brilliant.
so we have a whole slew of questions.
Oh, okay.
So do you want to? Oh,
Go
did
for
you
it.
have more cushions? I was
Go
thought we.
for it.
Okay, we got it. All right. So say yay! I'm going to build my Hobo Fort booth. This was from Strange Storm Cat. She said, uh, "Is it better to have the window? You just talking about window just outside
Hmm.
the booth, behind me, or beside me?"
What do you mean? Because better is no window. Window bad. So you definitely don't want it in there with you. If we're talking about a window that goes to the outside of your home, yeah, no,
Hmm.
window very bad.
Some
Um, Yeah, you definitely want it outside the booth.
Mm, mhm.
Behind and front, so it doesn't matter. You're gonna have to potentially treat the window, and we can
Yes.
talk about that. We can talk about it tomorrow. We can add information about baffling and things like
Oh
that.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
something, Gabby, too, that I did because I had a window behind me is I got they make, on Amazon, acoustical curtains.
Mhm.
That's one
Yep.
way. So I bought one, and the one I bought had a microphone on it. So that ended up
Oh,
being my
that's cool.
backdrop in one of my other house. People
Oh,
didn't know it, but that was actually covering a window.
that's kind of cute.
But yeah, and then you can also get, if for noise purposes, you can go to Lowe's and they've got the rubber that put along your windows for sound and like to
Yes.
keep stuff out and stuff. That's helpful too. But remember, what Gabby said, it's a hard surface.
Yeah.
So in the end, it's not going to be.
A lot of
It's
reflection.
yeah, it's not going to be. John said, "What about a solution for those whose definition of DIY is destroy it yourself?"
John, I promise you, I've walked so many people through how to build a booth.
Hmm.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You need some planning, and you need to really sit down,
Hmm.
with some of the things Anthony and I are talking about, material list, costs, whether or not you need to bring in like a handyman or a contractor to kind of help you get it started, sort of thing. There's a lot of ways to do it,
Oh my God, John said, "I think, Gabby, we're going to do it. I see a book for both of you to co-write: Hobo Fort Designs and Techniques." I think we should do it.
It could
I
be
think
a
because
thing.
that's like a
It could be
title
a
that'll
thing.
sell, because
Oh
they're
my
like,
god,
"What
for
is a hobo
sure.
fort?"
What the
I
heck's
love
a
it.
hobo fort?
I love it. Okay.
Um,
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Still in starting. I build a tiny double layer room in the back of my pantry. The acoustical material is scrap carpet and jackets.
mhm, mhm.
Nice. Let's see. Started PVC pipe, industrial shelving with vocal booth to go, acoustical
Yes.
blanket. Yeah, so it's interesting, Jennifer. A lot of those places, I remember they popped up later on
Mhm.
after, someone was faster on the draw. I should have
Yeah.
thought about the fact that other voice actors would have liked it. John said, so the principle is that the soft surfaces absorb the sound.
They stop the sound from continuing to travel.
Right.
Yeah, because when you think of a sound wave, right? That's why we call it a sound wave in the first place. It is a moving object, which is crazy to think about, right?
Hmm.
And as the sound reverberates out, and if you think about it, it grows, right? And it does this. And so we're trying to mitigate it. We're trying to put something in its way to keep it from traveling.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
And the
Absolutely.
answer to that is always soft and squishy.
Oh, absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely. Yep. Let's see.
I
Oh,
Yep, good.
sorry. Sarah says, I'm currently building my hobo fort. I appreciate hearing about the materials you used. Gabby, I am intrigued by the hot glued foam. A friend suggested foam egg containers. Any experience with that?
So I just want to make sure we're clear. Like, there's a type of acoustic treatment called egg crate or egg foam because it looks like the little cups that you could put an egg into. And
Yeah.
then there are actual egg cartons. Egg cartons are useless. We don't want those.
Right.
Yeah. So there's the egg crate style of foam. Yeah, it's great. I have links to loads of those different brands on Amazon all over the resources section on my website that you guys could take advantage of. Um, but again, it's like anything that is, think of it this way. When you first move into your home, right? When it's empty, when it's a blank canvas, it's echoey, right? There's a ton of sound reverberating. You put a couch into a living room, you put a bed into a bedroom, all of a sudden the echo is gone. It's because you have this big, dense, heavy object that is stopping the sound from traveling. So, yeah, effectively, we're building the same thing. I've seen booths made entirely out of pillows and out of cushions. One of the ugliest things to use, but the most inexpensive because you can get it at carpet stores as remnants,
Mm-hmm.
carpet underlayment. The
Mm-hmm.
actual yeah, the actual
Mm-hmm.
padding for carpet, which is hideous stuff. It looks so bad. It's just like it would give me a headache to stare at it. But
Mm-hmm.
but that's what it's for, right? It's again, it's an acoustic barrier from your
Yes.
tile and your subfloor.
Yes.
Clothing is great. Bedding is great. I am a big fan of the Vocal Booths to Go curtains. I have quite a few of those around that I use every day because they're very effective. But likewise, if you get a stack of moving blankets and take them to a seamstress who is going to look at you like you're a crazy person, but they can be right sewn together to effectively create the same thing.
Absolutely. So I love what you just said too about, and it's something I did not understand early on, and I wish I did, but now I do. And what you just said, stack the stuff, right? So like even that like that's like the stuff is so easy and it's together. But you just
Mhm,
said the material underneath your carpet. You can
mhm.
stack that. You can and hang it from a wall, hang
Yep.
it from the. I mean, it can be all over stuff, and it's fantastic. Same with the blankets. You can
Yeah.
stack them.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah.
what I was talking about earlier with the glue gun was that because acoustic ceiling tiles, which go up into a drop ceiling, they're thin. So, they're maybe a quarter of an inch. So by gluing them together, I was making a thicker structure. And I think
Hmm.
I had each one was about an inch, inch and a quarter. But unfortunately, those have also gotten really expensive now, so
Yes. Yes.
I don't recommend those anymore. But tomorrow we can talk about making baffles, and baffling is
Sure.
the same process. It's very, very similar.
Absolutely. And I do want to talk tomorrow also about some more advanced, when I say advanced materials, maybe just a little bit more expensive, because we'll
Yeah,
get
for
into
sure.
like the materials that you would build if you were building maybe a more a booth from scratch,
Yeah, I can
like
tell you what's in
different
my booth, which
all
is
yeah, and me
yeah,
too as
fully
well.
custom.
We do have a couple of things. We are at our time limit, everybody. We did have Alex said, can hanging jackets look good in the background, or should I hold off on booth picks?
Here is what a lot of people do. This is actually really funny that you say that. They work out of their actual clothes closet and they just take a single moving blanket and hang it over their clothing while they're on video or to take pictures with because it hides it really effectively. Nobody would know it's back there.
That's a really, that is a really good point. If you were in that, again, like I should have had it. It's in there. It's folded up, but it's a nice, it's
It
a
is.
nice curtain
It is.
that is acoustic
Yeah.
curtain, and it has a beautiful printed microphone on and everything. It looks really nice, and you could cover up everything.
Every gay voice actor I know loves to make the joke about how they, left the closet to go back in the closet and they all, and they work around their clothes. It's very funny.
Love it. Hey everybody, thank you guys so much for this wonderful discussion.
Yeah.
we're gonna talk more about this tomorrow. We're gonna talk about baffling, talk about the materials that you can use, that are, when we talk about insulation and those things that
Mhm.
really go beyond,
Oh,
and we
man.
didn't talk about,
Stuff.
paneling and all kinds of stuff. So there's lots to talk about, but this was all to hobo for today. So thank you, everybody. Really make sure you head over to VO Journey Academy. Check out our new semester starting this
I'll be
week.
kicking it
So
off tonight, I
yes, you're
think,
kicking
right?
it
I'm
off
the first
tonight.
class.
You are the first one of the new
Yay!
semester. Bye, everybody. Have a
Bye,
good
guys.
one. Goodbye.